Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about something that I think deserves a much more direct conversation than it usually gets. Your gut can deteriorate slowly, silently, and significantly, without ever producing a symptom dramatic enough to land you in a doctor's office. No sudden pain, no alarming diagnosis, no clear moment where something obviously went wrong. Just a gradual degradation of function that shows up as things most people write off as normal. Feeling a little off after eating, energy that never quite returns to where it was, a body that seems increasingly reactive to the world around it. The three signs I want to talk about today are not rare. They are not obscure. They are things a significant proportion of people reading this are experiencing right now and attributing to aging, stress, or just the way their body works. I want to offer a different explanation, and I want to offer it because understanding what these signs actually mean is the first step toward reversing them. The first sign is a progressive narrowing of food tolerance. This is the one that tends to develop so gradually it becomes invisible. You notice that bread sits heavy now when it didn't before. That onions or garlic reliably cause bloating. That coffee on an empty stomach, which you've been drinking for years, suddenly causes discomfort. That dairy, or spicy food, or a glass of wine now produces a reaction that didn't used to be there. Most people interpret this as their body changing with age. Some of that is real. But a significant portion of expanding food intolerance, particularly when it develops in your 20s or 30s, is a sign of gut barrier degradation and microbiome disruption, not inevitable aging. The second sign is a shift in your baseline mood and cognitive sharpness that you've gradually accepted as normal. I'm not talking about clinical depression or diagnosed anxiety. I'm talking about the subtle, creeping version, a slightly shorter fuse than you used to have. A background hum of low-level worry that wasn't always there. A cognitive edge that has softened in ways you notice but can't fully explain. The kind of change that doesn't feel medical but has quietly reshaped how you move through your days. The gut-brain axis is the mechanism here. And I've covered it before, but in the context of gut deterioration specifically, the signal is worth naming clearly. As beneficial bacterial populations decline, the production of serotonin precursors decreases. As gut permeability increases, pro-inflammatory cytokines enter circulation and cross the blood-brain barrier, directly interfering with neurotransmitter synthesis and synaptic function. As the vagus nerve receives a more dysregulated signal from a compromised gut, its tone decreases, and with it, the nervous system's capacity for emotional regulation and stress recovery. The third sign is fatigue that rest doesn't fix. Not tiredness after a long day. Not the heavy-limbed exhaustion of a hard week. I mean the kind of fatigue that is there when you wake up. That doesn't respond proportionally to how much sleep you get. That sits behind your eyes and in your muscles as a persistent baseline weight that has become so familiar you've stopped expecting it to lift. This kind of fatigue has multiple potential drivers, and I've covered several of them in previous videos: mitochondrial inefficiency, thyroid hormone conversion issues, iron insufficiency, blood sugar volatility. But the gut thread running through all of them is the same. A deteriorating gut generates chronic low-grade inflammation through increased permeability and immune dysregulation. That inflammation is energetically expensive. Your immune system running a continuous background response consumes significant cellular resources. It impairs mitochondrial function directly, reducing the efficiency of ATP production. It disrupts the overnight gut repair that is supposed to reduce inflammatory load during sleep. And it interferes with the absorption of the very nutrients-iron, B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, that the energy production process depends on. According to research, subclinical gut permeability elevation was the strongest single predictor of unexplained fatigue in a large cohort of young adults presenting with chronic tiredness and normal standard lab results. The gut was leaking. The body was paying for it in energy. And no amount of rest was going to fix that until the source of the drain was addressed. Here is what I want to make clear before I close. None of these three signs means your gut is beyond repair. Quite the opposite. The gut is one of the most regenerative systems in the body. The intestinal epithelium, the lining itself, turns over completely every few days. Microbial populations can shift meaningfully within 1 to 2 weeks of consistent dietary and lifestyle change. Inflammation driven by gut permeability can begin to decrease within days of removing the primary stressors and introducing the right nutritional inputs. The deterioration is real, but it is not permanent. The signs are not a verdict. They are a direction, and direction can be changed. What they are asking for is not a dramatic overhaul. They are asking for sustained attention. For food diversity that rebuilds the microbial populations your gut has lost. For sleep that gives the lining its repair window. For a reduction in the chronic stress load that is actively degrading the barrier. For the simple, consistent inputs that a system under quiet pressure has been missing. Your gut is not dying dramatically. But if these signs are present and unaddressed, it is declining slowly. And slowly is exactly how long-term damage accumulates, quietly, incrementally, until the body finally stops being quiet about it. I hope this gave you the clarity to pay attention before that point. Leave a comment and tell me which of the 3 signs resonated. I read all of them. If this was useful, hit the like button and share it with someone who has been brushing these signs off as normal. And if you're new to Nutriflow, this is exactly the kind of content we make here. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.